here at Sun and Fun. We're getting toward the end of the week now, but one thing we have discovered as we've gone and done a bunch of videos is that interest in 103, Part 103 aircraft is, I think it's going through a real resurgence. I'm Dan Johnson, and we're going to talk to the man behind the Aerolite 103, Dennis Carley. Dennis, you've been having, well, tell us about this show, and then I want to ask you some perspective stuff about what's been happening with the Aerolite 103, and you can talk about the Aerolite 120, which may be a question to some of our U.S. Observers, but the Europeans know about it very well now. Take it away, Dennis.
Well, it's been, we've been producing the airplane. We bought the rights in 2012, started in 2013, and it has exceeded every expectation we had about what the growth would be. We, first year, I think we sold 20 airplanes the first year. We were just right about 40 the second year, and we're on track this year somewhere between 50 and 60. That is about the maximum capacity we can do with our current location.
So great stuff, Dennis. As you said, there's 2 years of previous ownership. Of course, the airplane goes back some years before that, and there are several hundred examples of those by other producers flying it, and then you acquired it. Dennis is a neighbor of mine down here in Florida. You're at the Deland airport, which is a fascinating place with lots of sport aviation activity, and now you're one of the key guys there. But 40 airplanes last year. There's a lot of airplane companies that would like to be able to say that number. And here at this show, you've experienced some more of that continuing success, right?
Yeah. We sold 2 airplanes yesterday, one the day before. We've got another customer coming back this morning to complete it, and we've had more legitimate potential buyers this show than we have here in the years that we've been here.
Well, that's great. We're really pleased to hear that, and that's not just going on here in the USA, is it? There's a German rule. I'll try and do this real briefly. There's a German and a British rule that are like our Part 103, which is a new development there. They've just done this, what's called a 120 class. It's 120 kilograms. That's 264 pounds. That's very similar to our 254. And then in England, there's something called SSDR, single seat deregulated. And their numbers are roughly similar. So you suddenly got what used to be just a U.S. market is now, well, maybe not the whole world, but a lot more of the world, and you're having some success overseas too.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, the Aero-Works, our distributor there in Germany for the EU countries, they have got the certification for the aircraft last year after about a year's worth of jumping through the hoops and doing the testing. We sent them initially 4 planes last year. They sold they used one for testing, sold the other aircraft. They ordered 8 more aircraft last November. We just packed those up right before we came to Sun and Fun to ship them, load in a sea container and ship them. Some of those, about half of those, are already sold before they get there, so they're doing very, very well over there in Europe.
I was just at the Aero show and ran into your German counterparts there, Wolfgang and Tilde. Labuda is their name, and Aero-Works is the name of their company there. We'll put that up on the website as well, but they didn't have an airplane there because they've sold all the airplanes they have, and they were all excited. They said, yes, we know Dennis is packing up our airplanes as we are talking, and indeed you were. So that's very exciting, and I'm sure they'll be able to get into the British market as well. But here as there's interest in these light, simple, fun to fly airplanes like the Aerolite 103. So really cool. Tell us a little bit about how the airplane flies, and give us a few of its numbers just for experience.
Okay. It's a true Part 103 3-axis airplane. It has no bad habits. It's straightforward flying. It's speed range, cruise speed ranges in the 50 to 55 miles an hour with most of the engines. Some of the larger engines will push it a little faster than that, but 50 miles an hour absolute minimum, even with the smallest engine that we use. Stall speed 26 miles an hour with the flaps down, 28 clean. It really is just a pleasure to fly.
And now, we always sort of shy away from price, but we have to talk about price on these 103 airplanes because people are lamenting regularly that aviation is just too expensive, that it costs so much to buy an airplane now that they can't justify doing it. And perhaps they want something else. Perhaps they want a carbon fiber speedster with glass panel and autopilot. Well, you're going to have to pay for that. That's all there is to it. That's some sophisticated stuff. But put us in the ballpark here, and folks, remember, these numbers change. We'll give you Dennis's web address later. Go ask what the price is when you watch this video, because it surely will change. But today, put us in the ballpark of what this handsome little airplane behind us will sell for.
Yep. Well, we have normally the base price on the lowest model we have with a Kawasaki 340 engine is $15,900. That's completely assembled, ready to fly. Engine, prop, full instrumentation, electric flaps, brakes. It's not a no-frills plane. You can get in it and go fly it comfortably. The Kawasaki, or the Herth F33, which is another one of the popular engines that we use, that's 16,790 normally. It's a little bit more performance out of that engine, still underneath the Part 103 weight limit and performance limits.
Beautiful.
And when we sell a plane, or we take an order at the Oshkosh or Sun and Fun, either one, we always have a promotion. It's usually $1,000 off of the price, and that's what we've done here this year as well.
So I got to ask you, as I've asked you before, really, those prices are so low. If you do a time value of money thing and go back, I mean, this is just a few $1,000s only 15 years ago or some number like that. It's really you can't buy an average price of a new car substantially more than that.
Yep.
And here's an airplane, and not just a bare bones airplane, but something with all the right stuff you really want on it. Can you actually make a living out of selling airplanes at that price?
Well, we're doing it, and it's a couple of reasons we can do it, Dan. First, we're selling a lot of them, so it's a continuous amount of sales that keeps us in the black. And when we're building airframes, we've got a large enough facility that we can build somewhere between 15 and 20 airframes at a time. So
you're doing kind of batch.
Yeah, we do. And then when we do that, our material cost goes down because we're buying it in bulk. And the amount of man hours per plane goes down because we're making 20 root tubes at a time, or 20 wing spars at a time.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Unlike some of the smaller companies, or some of the guys just getting their feet on the ground and getting a market share, if they're making 1 or 2 planes at a time, it's just the economics of it is that plane costs more to make.
It has to take more. It takes more. And you've got this down now, and it's a regular production, and you're not trying to make 15 different models here.
No.
You're making this one, and you're doing it well.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's some great stuff. Let's get a web address from you now. We'll put it on the screen, so just tell us where we go find out more, or how we send you money.
Well, it's www.fly103.com. That takes you right to the homepage of the Aerolite website, and then you can navigate from there for specs and prices and photos and just about anything else that you want to find out.
All right, well, we've got viewers all around the world, so what's the one in Germany? Do you know their web address?
Yeah, it's aerolite120.com.
Okay, so there you can find out in Europe, in the USA, or anywhere in the world, and I'll bet you'd be glad to send one just about anywhere somebody wants one.
As long as it's on planet Earth, we can get it to them.
All right, sounds good. There's lots more about Aerolite 103 and Aerolite 120, plus lots of other affordable aviation airplanes on BuyDanJohnson.com. Thanks for joining Dennis Carley and myself here at Sun and Fun.